This is Joshua Stolman from BrooklynComicShop.com with a review of Savage World Thundercats Panthro figure from Funko. This is Funko's new line of Savage World, which is their way of saying He-Man inspired retro action figures. So this is the Thundercats version. This is Series 1, and we're doing Panthro today. He's made to look like a He-Man toy instead of a Thundercats toy, which is great because I'm a big He-Man collector. So these are brand new figures that are meant to look old, and you can see my other reviews for Lion-O, Mum-Ra, and Slythe. You can see those other reviews here too. But I'm going to show you the card art here. Very vintage style, but with a modern Panthro image and a modern Thundercats logo from their cartoon series. The back of the card art is all the same for all four of them. You can see Wave 1 and Wave 2. Also, there's a nice little Warner Brothers note here that they're the guys in charge of this, so hopefully we get to see more toys in the future, but right now we get two lines, and this is the first. So, I've done a little pre-cutting on this figure, so I'm going to just take him out of the package, and you'll be able to see what he looks like when he's not on card. One of the things I really liked about this packaging is when you get to keep them in the card, they actually have, and each bubble is different. Each bubble is just molded to the inside of the person's chest to try to keep them in place. Here you had Panthro's chest kind of molded in there to keep him steady, which is interesting. I'm not sure if it's really necessary, but this is the Panthro that I got. And I think he looks fantastic. You can see he's done in a flat gray with a little subtle whitish, just like in the cartoon. His feet look a little bit chunky, but they're okay. They're not as bad as Lion-O's. Lion-O's, I really didn't like the sculpt of the feet. But I do think the harness and the straps are not removable. They are molded to the figure. I think the belt is the only piece that actually is molded separately because you can see it was used for Lion-O already, which is okay, but you can't really take it off. Everything else seems to be really good, done in its flat colors and in a real He-Man style. In fact, I'm going to show you the comparison between him and He-Man right now. There's a little uneven surface, so they're not exactly the same size. Let me see what I can do. But they're pretty close. And you can see that they definitely fit in the same world. Their heads are actually in good proportion to each other. Their arms are definitely there, and the legs are pretty well done. I don't think that they're too chunky on this figure. I think Lion-O was the only one that I had a real issue with. Everything looks great about this figure, exactly how I would envision him. He does come with an accessory, which I'm going to complain about. Accessory comes in this bag. The bag isn't sealed like the old ones used to have, like a little piece of tape. So you just get the accessory in the bag. But the one thing about this accessory is it's a chain, but it's not a chain. Because the chain is just sculpted. It's not actually a real chain. And the original figure had a real chain. I would have liked to have seen that. In fact, if I knew I was going to get a fake chain, I would have even offered to pay, a couple bucks more just to get the real chain for the figure. Now, as you can hear me, I'm trying to get it in his hand. And this is how it looks like. And this is why the real chain probably would look cooler. Although I do understand that when it's a plastic formed like this, you kind of have no control over the way it looks. But at the same time, you have enough control that, it's always going to stay bent in that kind of way. And maybe they want that for playwear of some sort. I don't know. But it's definitely in style and it looks great. Now, the whole reason that I really enjoyed this line is because I wanted to see how compatible it was with the vintage figures and the vintage vehicles, especially. And for Panthro, we have a really important vintage vehicle, so I'm going to make some room for it, and we're going to see how he does. Because as I've just opened him, I've never seen how he looks in the original Thunder Tank, which we have right here. So next to the Thunder Tank, you can see he's pretty much in style, and I would expect that, at least in scale. I would expect that for this figure, because the original figures were 6-inch scaled, and this is 5.5, so they should be similar, which I was very happy about. The real question is, how am I going to get this guy in the tank, and will he fit? And I kind of cheated, because if you saw my Lionel video, you see Lionel does fit in the tank. But I don't know about Panthro, and that would be really disappointing if I can't get him in there. But it looks like right now, a little bit. Let's see if I can finesse him in. There you go. Actually, Panthro fits in much better than I thought. He actually is pretty snug down in there. And that's great. You can set him up if you really want to. But that's also because of the Ninja Turtle-like legs that really allow it to form a little bit. I'm not going to make it jump up or anything, but if you did, there'd be a guy waiting right in here, and you'd be ready to go. But I think this looks fantastic for what it is. I don't think that Funko is going to make another vehicle that's going to be larger, so I think this is what we got. And if you can go find one on the secondary market, I would go ahead and do it if you want to see these really in their full glory. You want to see the whole line together. You got Panthro, Mum-Ra, you can see them, Lionel, and we got Slithe. There you go, I'm going to stick them up here. But I think they look great, and I think in terms of the vintage line, I think it did everything I wanted it to. They definitely fit in with He-Man, and they definitely would be a great addition to any He-Man collection. Thank you for watching. You can check out my blog and exclusive signed comics, vintage action figures at brooklyncomicsshop.com. Thank you again for watching.